Okay. Hello? Can you guys hear me? You guys hear me okay? Okay. I think we're live. Okay. Yes. Welcome everyone. Hello. Once again, welcome back to the Magnolia Pod cast in parentheses. We'll get started here. Let me change the music really fast. Okay, we'll get started here shortly, but before we start things off, I just want to do a quick introduction. So, hello everyone and welcome back to episode 3, part 2 of the Magnolia podcast. So, today we're joined by guests halfmango, Forte, and Medrathis, and we're going to be talking about the new dungeons and the new kind of farming that we'll see in the upcoming level 110 cap. So, before we get started, do you guys want to introduce yourselves to everyone in the audience?
I vote Mango
Sure,
go first.
What? Okay.
Sorry. Forte, you wanna go first?
Wait, no, I vote you go first.
All right. Okay, so hey guys, halfmango here, the resident nerd guy who likes explaining things for some reason. But yeah, this time we're back with the actual meaty stuffs of the 100 tank cap. Glad to be here again, and glad to be with everyone else, including our new face, Matt here.
Yeah, dude. Yubi,
Well,
let's haze him. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
I'm Forte. I like Endgame a lot. I've been looking forward to this podcast a lot. I hope we can share a lot of information that'll help players new and old to DFO about what to expect in a few weeks.
Okay. And Med?
All right. Met here. You guys know me. New blood. Just here for the content. Here for the gaming. See what's up.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys again for agreeing to show up on this podcast and being guests today. I always really appreciate bringing people onto this podcast so that they don't just hear me yammering on about whatever is going on right now. So, yeah, so I think it's about time for us to dive into all the new juicy stuff that's coming in a few weeks. We're expecting level 110 cap to drop July 12th, 2022. That's right, in a few weeks. So let's hype ourselves up and learn about the dungeons and the kind of farming that we are going to have to do next cap so that we can continue to do our big dammy numbers. So yeah, take us away, Mango.
Woo! Thank you.
Ooh.
So today, what we're gonna be doing is, I would like to introduce you to the dungeons and I guess the new systems of the 110 cap. Just a little disclaimer, because I love disclaimers every time. If you guys have been keeping track of the 110 cap in KDNF, it has been going through a lot of changes. So today I would like to just provide you with a very general information on what things are going to look like. I'm not going to go into any specific numbers or gory details because I don't know what we're getting for our own patch of 110 cap. Maybe it'll be something as in something more recent. Maybe we'll get the beta version. I have no idea. Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not. I don't want the bugs.
I don't think we're getting the buggy version. I would love if we got the updated 1VC in current test server, but I'm not expecting that. So a lot of the info we're talking about today and maybe even next week, there's a good chance it could change like shortly after release as we go through the different iterations.
I see. Okay. Well, fingers crossed we get like a decent 110 cap. Yeah.
Hopefully. But anyhow, without any delays, let's get started. First off, I would like to start with some new general systems that we'll be seeing in the next cap. And the first of them being the achievement system. So right now in the game, there is the challenge system, which is, I guess it's a challenge that not a lot of the people bother with it because it only gives cosmetic rewards at most. But that's going to be completely revamped. So there will be achievements and daily missions. Daily missions, which is the UI to the right here, is basically given to every character. And if you complete them, you'll be able to get actual feasible rewards like mats, or if you're lucky enough, even shiny epics. On the other hand, achievements are, well, it belongs to the UI in the left, and it has actual achievements that is shared account-wide. For example, I don't know, kill 10,000 monsters for something. And when you do them, you will get tangible rewards like mats, or actual stuff that will motivate you to play the game more. So, yeah, in comparison to right now, where the quote-unquote achievement system is more of a, oh, it's a nice thing to do. If you do this, we'll give you something fancy-looking, kinda, sorta. No, instead, in the next cap, it'll be, oh, you do this, we'll give you actual rewards.
Hey, Mango.
Oh, go ahead.
Is that a rest bar I see?
A rest bar.
Yes.
Nudge, nudge.
Oh.
Yes, thanks for mentioning that. So, in the daily missions UI, to the top right, you see this weird battery icon. And what it means is, if you, for instance, skip a day on a certain character for all these daily missions, this gauge would fill up. And when you have certain amount of points on this gauge, and when you log into the character to the daily missions, you'll get more rewards than you would normally do. As you can see here, it says ×2. That's because there is a 4 bar gauges filled on this UI. And because of that, when you complete these missions, you get double the amount of what you would normally get.
Did they revamp rest to be 100% efficiency, or is it because this picture looks like it, but I feel like I remember when rest first came out, it wasn't like 100% recovery from time you missed, but I think I heard they changed that. Or do you remember?
That's a good question. If I'm being completely honest, I don't remember. But from if I'm not mistaken, it's still not like 100% efficiency. As in, for example, if you I think it like diminishes a little bit if you like rest for too long. Because from if I'm not mistaken, the rate that the gauge is consumed is faster than the rate it fills up.
Oh. So.
But it gives you good wiggle room for your week by week.
Yeah. If you're like, oh, I don't feel like doing this character today, then, well, no burden. Just come back tomorrow and you'll get double the rewards or something like that.
Okay. So the daily missions, they're per character, because you said that if you don't do daily missions on a character, it fills up the rest gauge. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
I think there's an account-wide, like, weekly one, but please don't quote me on that.
There is actually... Yes, there is a weekly mission. It's on a different tab, unfortunately, but yes, it's part of a daily mission thing. There's also the weekly mission, where it's shared account-wide, and it gives obviously, since it's weekly, it gives bigger rewards than daily missions, and it resets weekly, hence the name weekly missions.
Oh.
And yeah, that exists as well.
Okay. So that's cool, because you mentioned right now the achievements page, it's like, oh, you managed to get all the Ozma raid titles. So here's a cool looking title, but it doesn't really do a whole lot for you. And it's like, okay, it's just a cool title I can use to flex in town, and that's pretty much it. But I'm glad to see that they've sort of taken a note from like Arid passes, where it's like, oh, do all these missions every day or do these missions every week, and then you get some mats that help you gear your character. And it's nice that they're doing like sort of a direct way to reward you for playing, other than just play for a long time and farm for a long time and then you'll get your gear eventually, which is sort of how it's been for a while now.
Yeah, so far for the achievements thing, any other comments or questions? I'll take that as a note, and let's move on to the next part. It's a bit... It'll get complicated here, so hold on to your hats.
Oh, okay.
So, the new big system here next cap is gonna be gear level. And what that means is gears will have levels on them as well. Or to be more specific, you know those various options on the gears, like skill attack or those what's they'll have levels on them. And you'll be able to increase these levels to make your gear more powerful. And not only that, it'll affect the fame value on your gears. And so obviously, which means the higher level you go, the higher your fame will increase.
Okay.
There's a lot of fame next cap. And I believe items, Mango can correct me if I'm wrong, I think they cap at level 80, but you really do not need anywhere close to 80 to hit those little thresholds you see on the UI window. Each of
Oh.
those levels give different effects,
Mm-hmm.
which can be spicy. I think if you look at Mango's translations for gear, you can see what effects each equipment unlocks as you level them up more.
And
Yep.
Oh.
So, sorry.
and
go
how
on.
do you level them up with the?
A bit, well, little spoilers, because next week is gonna be about gears, so we'll go into more details next week. But right now, basically, you will feed the gears that you aren't using onto the gears that you want to level up. Basically, you feed gears with gears.
And then I actually was wondering this earlier because I have like a ton of old epics. Is it worth keeping the old epics too, or is it only like Ozma option epics that we should hold on to?
Oh, I'm assuming you mean the 100 epics, right?
Yeah. Does that
So
matter for 110?
yes. So basically, some of the weapons, equipments, you'll be able to directly feed onto new 105 epics to give them a large amount of experience. Now, the gears that you can feed are either Ozma epics, like you mentioned, or Sirocco imbued epics with maximized BP options.
Okay.
Your gold lines are important, so you can use your ores to roll a max thing and feed it later, but it's probably worth noting, again, kind of a spoiler, but it's probably worth noting that that big fat chunk of EXP, it kind of only works like once.
Oh.
So you can't just roll like a billion and expect to be fully juiced out. Like the first one will give you a decent amount, after that it's not nearly as efficient.
Okay.
Mhm.
That kind of makes sense because you don't want people to get too powerful too fast in the new cap.
Right.
Yeah, there are probably some people out there who have like 50 Ozma epics stacked up in their stash or something. But you could feed them all and they would make your gear stronger, but not as much as you would think. It would be not a whole lot better than just feeding like 3 or 4. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Okay.
But yes, so the point being, like I said, more details next week, but gear level exists, and you increase them, the gears become more powerful, and their fame increases. Now, related on that note is that in the next level cap, every dungeon's gonna have a ton of difficulty on them. And every difficulty will have fame requirement for them.
Oh.
Now, right
Okay.
now, the fame requirements are kind of lenient, as in you don't really think about your fame when you run dungeons, right? You just kind of do. But in the next cap, so if you see in this UI here, there are some numbers on it, and what they say is you need this amount of fame to enter this dungeon. If you don't, too bad, you're not running it. So obviously that means that when you have gears, if your fame isn't enough, well, where do you get more fame? You level up your gear. And that whole leveling up and fame gatekeeping is very important in terms of how, well, the gearing and farming process next cap.
It's kind of like how you remember back in the old DFO and Nexon, you had exorcism parameter levels, and a lot of people you desperately wanted to hit that exorcism level to enter the next level of Otherverse. Also,
Yep,
that's a
that's
lot of
basically what it
fame.
was.
Your fame is gonna skyrocket this cap. That's not even the highest threshold. There's like, it goes.
I see.
Yeah, it's just like 25,000, 27,000, and that's not even end game values. So yeah, you can basically next cap you'll be like don't talk to me unless you're 30k. You can do something.
Med, we have the number.
Med.
Yeah, we have the number for you, Med. 30k.
Thanks, bro. Thanks. 30k. Jeez.
Yeah, there's a big number.
Oh, what's the highest or the average cap people have right now?
So right now, I mean, Kaden has already had this for a while, so they're kind of far ahead. Right now, I'd say the end game average is about 35k fame.
Okay.
and top players are around 38 to 39.
Oh,
Oh damn. Okay.
okay. And that's like enough to. Is that enough to enter everything at this point, or no?
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's definitely enough.
Okay.
Well, for now, that is. We don't know what. Well, I mean, we kind of know how much fame the future contents are gonna need, but even then, like, if you're able to enter like highest difficulty dungeons, like let's say right now, and a new content appears, then you'll definitely be able to run the new content.
Okay.
There should also be a system, I believe, for some content. Again, retro players will remember this. Some difficulties get unlocked by getting hit X amount, not more than X amount of times. I'm not sure if they kept that system, but if you remember old Next on DFO, they're bringing that like grading system back for like the later content difficulty.
Oh, so like the S rank actually matters now? Is that what you're
I
talking
think
about?
it's just like getting not hit more than a certain amount of times.
Oh, okay. I think I vaguely remember that back then. Yeah.
But it's for the most part, you just need more fame.
Ah, I see. Just more fame fixes everything. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like Forte mentioned, actually, I'm glad he mentioned that because you actually need to unlock the next difficulties before you can run them.
Hmm.
And the thing about the whole thing of don't get hit like X amount of times is still a thing, but to be fair, if you're strong enough, you can just steamroll over everything. So shouldn't be a problem if you have enough fame.
I see.
But yes, we'll come back to this whole fame game a bit more later. And the last general change, I guess, is gonna be the whole incapacitation system. Side note, I took this screenshot from a trailer because I was lazy. Please don't flame me.
No, that's fine. It's okay.
So we have this fancy screenshot here, and I would like to turn your attention to the purple bar thing I've marked with a red rectangle under the health bar.
Mm-hmm.
That is the new incapacitation gauge. And what it does is with certain actions and skills, you'll be able to deplete the gauge. And when it's completely depleted, what happens is the boss becomes vulnerable to everything. Like holds, freezing, or even hit stuns. You can just hit them like sandbag and they won't be able to do anything.
Oh, okay. And
But that also means...
Is there like a duration of how long the...
Yeah, so
okay.
Basically, after you deplete it, the gauge will slowly fill up again.
Mm-hmm.
And until it completely fills up again, the boss will be vulnerable.
Oh, I see.
Is he also in groggy? Like, does he take extra damage during that?
No, like in terms of damage, no, it won't be affecting how much damage you do, but technically it also will in an indirect way because the boss won't be able to do anything because you'll be punching them like there's no tomorrow. They won't be able to retaliate.
Yeah, because it's because the boss is vulnerable to like everything, there is a situation where you could just be like, okay guys, let's just chain holds after each other so the boss can't even move. You can stun lock them, etc. And then because the boss is not doing anything, it's basically a groggy. And the damage does go up even though you don't have the damage bonus, if that makes sense. Yeah.
That's kind of wild.
Mm-hmm.
This is also helping statuses to become more relevant, which I believe Mango will cover more later.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. More details next week, but I guess a little bit of spoilers right now. Bosses will have weaknesses, and the weaknesses will affect the gauge.
Oh. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, because statuses, I don't know when they fell off, but they fell off kind of hard.
There's a whole status rework coming, and statuses actually do become relevant next cap. And the weaknesses that Mango talked about, there are systems and cases where they actually rotate so that like one dungeon is not persistently weak to fire because it might be weak to shock next week. But we'll see more later.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Side note, that also means, conversely, when the gauge is not depleted, the boss will pretty much be immune to everything. You won't be able to hold them, you won't be able to hit stun them, you won't be able to give them disabling ailments.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it kind of replaces that whole groggy and hold immune system in a way.
Okay. I kind of appreciate it. Yeah.
I do know they were talking about this system at the DNF online like a day or so ago. The incapacitation gauge system is changing soon in Korea, so we don't know. Again, we'll be seeing how it changes, but we're going to be getting a version that is definitely changing soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
From the sounds of what they were talking about at the conference, it sounds, on paper, I guess now that we're talking about it, it sounds great. It sounds like it'll be like a nice, refreshing update for the game and like the combat gameplay, but in practice, I am assuming they ran into problems and players pointed it out, and it seems like they're on their way to fix some of those problems.
This director introduced a lot of changes, which it can be polarizing, but it's moving, at least player base, it moves the game forwards, and that it's good that they are trying to change things up and iterate things and make it better. And that's kind of what's going on right now. It's just growing pains.
Okay, that's good. I expect a lot of growing pains, especially when because like I remember the first times he was just talking about all these things, I was like, okay, a lot of things are new. There's a lot of growing pains there potentially. Yeah. There's a question from chat. So basically, once the gauge breaks, that's when folks can spam hold attacks like F Brawler's explosive hook and the like. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Right?
So once the gauge breaks, you'll be able to hold them with any hold skill. In fact, since they won't be immune to hit stun anyway, you can like just punch them down. And if you're worried they might retaliate with something, then just hold them, or I don't know, freeze them or something.
Okay, I see.
Well, I guess since Forte mentioned it, I guess we'll go into this a little bit right now. So the whole reason they are changing the incapacitation gauge in Kate and F is because prior to the change, so the initial version is the way it worked is that the gauge can only be depleted by either hold skills or the boss's weakness. That also means if you don't have the boss's weakness, or if you don't have any holds, there's no way for you to deplete the gauge.
Yeah, and that's not fun. That's not fun at all. Yeah.
No, that's not really fun.
Yeah.
And so the way they're changing it is so that it'll be affected by any damage, but the damage on the gauge will scale according to how much damage you do.
Okay.
Can you clarify something for me, Mango?
Yep.
If I remember correctly, even though they have a stagger gauge, if you, for example, use a freeze status on a boss, with the stagger gauge being full, they won't get frozen, but I think they still get a little bit of effect from the ice, like the frozen, like they might slow down a bit. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Do you remember?
As far as I know, they're completely immune to it without the without the gauge being broken.
Okay. But yeah, in that case, if you've played Guild Wars 2, it's like the Defiance gauge. They have a gauge, you deplete it by throwing CC on them, and then once that depletes, you get your window.
Oh, okay. I see.
So yeah, any other comments or questions about the gauge for now? Did you want to say something, Matt?
I was just thinking, so it's like basically sins without bringing sins, kinda?
Well, I feel like the better idea is it allows classes to bring more than just damage to the table.
Yeah.
Because I think because again, this system's being changed because this first pass wasn't good enough. I believe the intended goal is to introduce healthy playstyles where a player can choose to bring heavier stagger to the party just to introduce more windows of opportunity for the party. You get some subclasses that are really good at applying said stagger. Just so it's different ways of support to support the party without being the synergy problem that we've been plagued with for the past how many years.
Yeah, so instead of like supporting the party by just like bringing a Turnison and just kind of sitting there right with your Turnison gear, you can bring like your like, I don't know, a class with a lot of stagger, and then that's gonna support it. I feel like they're trying to reward more engaged support play rather than sort of like the passive support play that, as Forte has mentioned, we've been plagued with ever since they introduced Sins.
Yes.
Oh,
L-
that makes sense. There.
Yeah,
that
like
sounds great.
Anton's hold meta wasn't the greatest thing. The synergy meta we've had for the past many years wasn't the most optimal thing. So this is their next level of trying to introduce that type of varied gameplay.
Yeah. It's no longer just, okay, everyone, bring your big guys with the big sandbag damages. We're gonna just blow up the boss. It's sort of trying to, at least from what I see, it's trying to introduce more varied playstyles where rather than just trying to blow up the boss as fast as possible, maybe they want to focus on like bringing more windows off of a opportunity where you can blow up the boss as fast as possible. If that makes sense.
Right.
Drawing pans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything Forte said and everything you guys said. But yes, I guess that's it for the gauge for right now. And that's... Oh, I mean, there are other, obviously, considering how massive the 100 tank cap is, there are a lot of other smaller, minor changes as well. But that's all the more general changes I wanted to talk about. Now let's go over to the actual dungeons
Ooh.
that you guys will be running. Or will be running. I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting. Don't worry.
You won't be running them with us, Mango?
But yeah, first off, we have the story dungeons. The reason I'm mentioning this is because so far, in every cap, well, pretty much every cap, how was the story dungeons? If you're geared, then you just run through them, you get level up, you do like escape spacebar, you don't care about the story, let me get through them. While the mobs they have like 20 health, I don't care, they're like X-string over them.
Yeah.
Lenny? I've never heard of her.
Oh my gosh!
Ooh.
You guys are 30 cutscene skippers?
Guilty. Guilty.
Oh my gosh, okay, I see.
What's a Roxy?
Oh, okay, I see the people I hang out with, okay. Anyways.
But yes, that's pretty much the general idea of story quests in previous caps. The next cap, that's not gonna be a thing. There will be 4 difficulties for the story dungeons: normal, expert, master, and king. And according to difficulty, experience and rewards are gonna scale accordingly. So obviously, if you run higher difficulties, you'll get, albeit slightly, more experience. So just a disclaimer, it doesn't mean like, oh, if you run normal, you'll get like half the experience of king. No, that's not gonna be the case. It's gonna be like when you're done, it'll be like a couple dozen FP saved. But it's definitely something. And when I said rewards, it's not just random rare purple gear. Story dungeons can actually drop epics now. And if higher difficulty obviously means better epics that's gonna drop. And in case you run out of story dungeons, some of you probably have this nightmarish experience, but I ran out of story, but I haven't reached next level yet. There's no story. What do? Just run the useless dungeons over and over, hoping to level up. You don't have to worry about that, because growth dungeons will be provided in case you run out, to help you level up, to reach more story, or reach level 110.
Oh my god, that's nice, because that is always the worst part of doing leveling right now, is if you just like skip your quest strong, you end up in this really weird place where you have no story quests, but it's too much of a drag to like grind the dungeons to get to the next level for the new story quest. So that's good.
Yeah, that is really nice. And the growth dungeons will have difficulties as well, the same ones. So you just pick the one you like, or one that suits you. In case anyone's wondering as to how difficult these things are, normal's pretty much runnable with like almost any gear, as long as you're not bonk-ass naked or something.
Or hacked.
Dorito Hime? I'm just kidding now.
We don't talk about Dorito Hime. Anyways.
And King requires something more substantial. If you want to run it like comfortably, then you'll need something close to Osmagrad.
Oh, okay.
And Master will, if you can run 2+2 expert easily, then you'll be fine with it.
Okay.
And you can kind of expect where expert will lie in between those things.
I see. And this is when you say gears including epics can drop, that's like if people were around for the Spectre event, that's like what they're going for, right? Where if you want like a certain like epic set, certain dungeons would drop those epic pieces actually, and then you can just keep farming those dungeons for particular pieces that you're looking for.
You'll be progressing as you level up, pretty
Okay.
much, and
Okay.
then you can target later.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, that was the, I think that was like my most favorite part about the Spectre event. It's just that, wow, as soon as I'm done leveling to 100, I can target farm for the pieces I want, and then I don't have to go through Gal and beg RNGs to give me my tally shoes.
Don't you dare give me dice RNGs.
Oh my god. But yeah, that's nice. I'm glad they took the high notes from the Spectre event. Yeah. Oh, there's a question. Hold on. Oh god. My PC is deep frying itself. Oh.
I'll read the question out for Mango.
Thank you.
Speaking of epics, there's been talk of mythics being phased out in favor of 105 to 110 epics being comparable to those 100 mythics. Is this a question for next week, Mango?
Yes. If let me give a little bit of spoilers. Mythics won't be useless, but they'll be eventually replaced. If that was the question.
Yeah.
They're currently definitely being seen less in Korea currently. They're at that point right now.
Oh. That's good. I don't like mythics. I think mythics were a mistake. That's my hot take of the day. But it's not that hot because I think everyone agrees with it.
No, that's a hot take.
Okay, maybe that was a hot take. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're useful, but they're kind of just like a good soft landing to make it easier for you for now.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I've been hearing like conflicted things. So is a 110 cap going to be more grindy than 100 cap in terms of like dungeon and gearing?
Let's find out, shall we?
I kind of think it's kind of grindy.
It is pretty grindy, but we'll discuss about that a bit later in the
Okay.
down the podcast, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll table
But-
that discussion.
Yes, but it's definitely a bit grindy.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
Okay.
Wait. That leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth. I will say now that the farm paradigm coming next cap was discussed at the recent DNF online event. So again, growing pains. So we're doing another iteration on that soon.
Yeah, they're working to fix parts of it. So don't be sad now. There's hope still.
Cope you. Okay.
But yeah, that's for the story dungeons. So TLDR, a bit more interesting, not as useless. But now let's get into something that's more relevant. That is the actual quote-unquote normal dungeons. So basically, effectively, what normal dungeons are gonna do is they will replace Gao and Hell that we've had so far in previous caps. There will be 8 different normal dungeons. And for each of these normal dungeons, there will be 8 or 10, depending on which version of the 110 cap we get. Because
Hold on,
KDNF had
Mango.
an expansion of the difficulties.
I see.
Wait, Mango, did you just say they're removing Hell and Gal? Gasp.
Yes,
Good
Gao,
riddance.
get out of my face.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Something
good
we've had
riddance.
for like a 10-year system is actually being removed.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it too.
Yeah, so like I said, these things are replacing Hell. So entry is free as long as you have FP. 1 FP cost per room. Like what was the name? The bit of a BP daily. Excuse me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And now, like Sungahime mentioned before, the name of the game is pretty much a Spectre event. Each dungeon will have a specific pool of epics that it's gonna drop. And basically you just check which one you want, and you run the dungeon, you get the piece you need, and rinse and repeat until you get your setup built up. That's step 1 of the farming process next cap. And like before, I mentioned that there got excuse me, why am I slurring? There's gonna be fame gaming in terms of dungeon difficulties. The higher you go, the fame requirement's gonna increase. But the higher you go, what happens is the drop pool, as in what will drop, doesn't exactly change as higher you go. The epic list remains the same, but the level on these epics are gonna increase as you increase in. You increase as you climb the difficulty ladder.
Mm-hmm.
That means less feeding.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, because feeding is affected by the level of the gears, if you have like stronger gears, like higher level gears, if you feed them onto your current gear, then you'll get more level out of them.
Mm.
You'll need to feed it, or if you drop a good piece, you'll need to feed it less to hit that juicy level 3 bonus or higher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the basically this whole normal dungeon will be an integral part of your farming process, and you won't be limited by anything except your FP. You just run them as much as you want, or as little as you want, I guess. But that depends on your preferences.
Let's drop it on the first run. Easy.
Easy.
Just pig like someone does. Forehead.
Yeah.
It's easy.
And in case you're like worried that, oh, my luck is actually a pile of crap, what if I never get anything? Don't worry about it. There will be mats that drop, and with these mats, you'll be able to buy selective boxes.
Oh,
So
thank God.
eventually, you'll be able to finish.
Okay, that's good. I like
Yeah.
the box thing that they've been doing a lot lately. Not, is not Exile Mountains. Exile Mountains is forever.
Spoilers,
Yeah,
they're
if
staying
you
the
want
next time.
something, you can get it.
Okay. Oh,
Mhm.
That's
phew.
good,
Mhm.
actually. Nice.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. You won't have to worry about like in 100 cap. I need this one piece, but I don't have it. I already used my Ditto. I have to run hell for the next year. No, you don't have to worry about that.
Okay,
Target farming for like one epic is now in a pool of like 30 instead of farming for one epic. Or well, if you want one epic, you're now farming a pool of like 900. It's drastic. The pool is drastically lowered because you target farm now.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, and a couple other notable things about these normal dungeons. First, there will be emergency missions when you run them that'll pop up like randomly, and if you clear them, you'll be able to get some big bonuses like mats or epics or maybe gold. And these will be a bit of an incentive, like, oh, maybe I'll get an emergency mission this time around. Secondly, Forte mentioned this a bit earlier, but something about higher difficulties is that higher difficulties, which are called heroes difficulties, will have daily weaknesses.
Oh.
For instance, here, this is the new revamped the teleportation map thing on Philasia,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and you'll see these tiny elemental icons below these things,
Oh.
and they will show what the weaknesses of the dungeons of these regions will be.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah, so for example, for this particular dungeon, today it'll be fire and maybe freeze. But
Oh,
tomorrow it might be water and blind, so on and so forth.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so it'll give you a little bit more spice in terms of rotation or in daily farming.
Mm.
Okay.
Keeps you on your toes, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you could try to, if in case like the dungeon that you need to run has the weakness of your element, you might have an easier time running that particular day.
Oh, that's nice.
Are they and they're all random? Can you get the same element twice a day?
That the weakness lasts for the entire day.
Okay.
But the next day you won't get the same thing like twice in a row.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair.
So if it, for example, if it was fire today, tomorrow it's not gonna be fire.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
Variety.
so far for the normal dungeons. Any comments or questions?
I like what they're putting out. I like it.
Yeah, it seems pretty fair. Yeah.
The intent is to make it healthy and varietal, I guess. Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's fair. Cause I'm gonna be honest, a farming gal for like basically a month straight. If it, it not fun. I was bored.
It's like a 10-second gacha pull,
Yeah,
but
it's
no
like
longer.
yeah, but all you get is disappointment and the occasional dopamine rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely had the intention of, okay, just enjoy running the dungeons itself and you'll get some gear along the way.
Okay,
Which is nice.
Yeah, that's good
That's
because like
good. Yeah.
yeah, at some point when I was grinding Gao, I had like kitchen nightmares on the other monitor because that's the only way I could like get through it. Okay.
Yeah, pretty painful. But yeah, those were the normal dungeons. Now, since these are just replacements to Hells and Gaos, we need some endgame, right? And
Yeah.
that's where these advanced dungeons come in.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So there'll be two different kinds of normal dungeons. The first one being Destroyed Castle of the Dead. I'm gonna like dub this DCD. I don't know if it's gonna be officially called that as well, but I'm not gonna read that over and over. The second one being Noblesse Code, which I'm gonna dub NC.
Okay.
Okay.
And each of these dungeons, they both have 3 difficulties: normal, expert, and master. And the interesting thing about the entry is these dungeons won't have a weekly entry limit. Instead, you need
Oh.
tickets to enter them.
Oh.
And which also means if you have the tickets, you can run them as many times as you want.
Oh, that's nice. That's cool.
Are the-
well,
The tickets
sorry,
are tradable.
some
I was
tickets are
gonna say-
tradable, yes.
So some tickets are
Oh.
tradable.
Are the tickets hard to attain? Are they a limit per player weekly or something?
They're expensive.
The tradable ones are quite
The
expensive.
tradable ones, well, I mean, like, this is personal opinion, and once again, kind of spoiler, but I would tell you now, you don't need, if you can, it's perfectly okay to just sell them for the payday that you're gonna get, as they currently are in other servers.
I
Mhm.
see.
Prioritize.
Like I don't know if it is the case like right now, but a couple of months ago when it wasn't too long after KDNF had 110 cap, the master tickets went for like 30-40 million.
Oh my
Oh
heart.
wow. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my heart.
We sell that.
Yeah, we saw that.
You absolutely don't need them, like, as you don't need like an unending fountain of them. You don't need to run. You will get your progression eventually. The ticket will not change your life. So do not get too hung up on them, and don't feel bad about selling them for gold, even if you are a progression fiend.
They're just jackpots.
Okay.
And those are just tradable tickets, and there are plenty of ways to get untradable ones.
Okay.
The most notable one being the play point system, which is the new thing they introduced, another one, where if you spend your FP running normal dungeons, then you will get points, and with these points, you can buy these tickets. In other words, you keep playing, you play more.
Okay, so at least that's like a thing we can do if we don't have 30 to 40 mil to spend per ticket. That's good.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like if you had to buy everything with gold, that
Oh.
would be insane.
Definitely pay to win at that point. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm,
But it seems like, as Forte said, you don't get hung up on the tickets. You don't need to spend 40 mil for a ticket. So if that's what you think you're gonna have to do, you don't have to. So please don't feel pressured to like swipe and buy tickets to, I guess, get not that much FARP compared to people who haven't been buying tickets.
The analogy is like, if the guy who pays has a sports car, you don't have a sports car, but there's a red light, and you're both gonna be at the red light eventually.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that.
Pay to lose.
Pay to lose.
Whoa. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Excuse me. So yeah, like I mentioned, there are 2 different advanced dungeons, and they actually do 2 different things. So first up, we have DCD, and this is basically 110 Oculus.
Oh.
Either you can run this in solo or in a party, optimally 4 players.
It's also a
And-
sick as hell blast to the past because you get to see some familiar faces.
Yeah, I saw some of them already, and I was excited.
Yeah. The entry cost is 30 FP, same like Oculus, and a ticket, like I mentioned. And the way you progress is, if you see here, you'll see a grid style map, like in Oculus. And you just progress through it. And if you beat the boss at the top right corner of the map, you win. But the different thing about DCD from Oculus is, in Oculus, you go through the whole dungeon, you kill Papa Ezra, and you get the stuffs.
Oh.
Like everything drops at the end. Here in DCD, the mini bosses in between can drop stuffs as well. In other words, you want to go through as many bosses as you can.
Okay.
So it gives you a little bit more incentive in a good way or in a bad way, like forces you to, go through everything.
Okay, that's fair.
But yes, so this is the Oculus, and you would run it to get quote unquote good gears, which is like they would have like much higher level compared to the normal dungeon ones. And there are also some specific epics that drop only from these advanced dungeons.
Oh.
And in case you're worried about RNG, again, these advanced dungeons have their own mats, and with these mats you can get a selective box.
Oh, okay, thank goodness.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so anything, the 110 cap, getting the pieces is not a problem. You'll get them sooner or later,
Okay.
guaranteed.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah,
you
this-
said,
Sorry, yes?
I was gonna say, you said this dungeon drops better gear than the other dungeons?
Yeah, so their level pool is gonna be much higher than the normal dungeon ones.
If the other ones were upgraded, would they hit the same level, or is it still this one would still be higher, even max upgraded?
That would depend on the difficulty that we're comparing. For example, if we compare the highest normal dungeon difficulty with the lowest DCD difficulty, then most likely you get a better one in the normal dungeon. But if you're running master DCD, then you would probably get something better than the ones you would get from any normal dungeon.
It's like the same gear, different experience thresholds that they drop out.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to get some good gears, then you would run as like DCDs. DCD is the name of the game. Just keep running it for fancy like level 69 gears or something.
Oh, nice. Sorry.
Yes, I aimed for that.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. Heard.
But yeah, but barring that, nothing too special about DCD. It's just Oculus for next cap. On the other hand, Noblesse Code NC, it rotates a little bit differently. This, you cannot play with other players. It's for you only,
Oh.
but you can bring your other characters. So it's basically squad mode in a way.
Oh, okay.
And unique thing is it costs 60 FP. That's a chunky amount, but there will be a reason for this. I'll explain that in a bit.
Okay.
And the way it runs is you see this map here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is basically like one of those board games where you progress a space. And what happens is you would pick a character that you want to play that room as. And then if you beat the room with that character, then you would progress to the next space. And so on and so forth until you reach the very end.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
As an interruption, turn your music on for this dungeon. It's really good.
It's a banger.
It's pretty,
It's a banger.
pretty hot.
Certified banger. Okay, you heard that, everyone.
So when it says up to 4 characters, are you able to do it with just one character?
Yes, but it's not a good idea for reasons that will come in a bit.
Okay.
And sorry, any other questions for now?
No, I'm good.
Matt, did you have a question or?
No, I'm good. I was just thinking about the solo dungeon.
Okay, so yeah, so you would have your own squad mode. Kind of, it's technically not squad mode because you can't bring all of them into one dungeon. You will have to pick one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you progress along the way. Now, in any of these rooms, epics can drop. But when you pick them up, you wouldn't actually get them.
Oh.
What
okay.
happens is they would go into a specific pool.
Oh.
and then you'll be you'll be able to give any epics of your choice to your characters.
What?
Wow.
That's insane.
That's cool. Okay.
Mhm.
Looking
And that's why you would
respectfully.
want to go with as many characters as you want, because if you only bring one, you only take one or two
One.
if you're lucky. If you bring all
Right.
four, then you can give out stuffs for all four of them.
Okay, nice. That's insane. I was
Mhm.
just wondering more so for like newer players if they only had like one character, if they would still be able to run this content.
I mean, they
But
could. Yeah, you can technically beat it with one character, but again, less rewards for the set
right.
reasons.
If you step back a bit, you can see the trend here that is going with this upcoming cap is like you get what you put in. So it depends on how you want to look at it. Like you can work hard and drain FP and just get a lot of gain, but that's also why once again they're looking at this entire paradigm of gearing and effort, and that's going to be going through changes soon again. TM.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah, this dungeon would basically be the one that you would run to help your alts get stronger.
Oh.
Because you can obviously technically carry whatever characters you have.
Right. That's pretty sick.
There's
Mhm.
a there's a question from chat. Are characters bound you enter with a group, or I could run across 20 characters using my main in the party to funnel?
So let's say for this particular run you pick 4 certain characters, then you can only use these 4 for this run. But let's say you want to run again with the next one, or rather you have another run because you have another ticket. Then for each run you can basically pick new characters.
Okay.
Or this
And still the same. Okay, there you
Okay.
go. Nice.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, if you want to like take turns, then go ahead. As long as you have tickets and FP, you can run as many times as you want.
Damn, now I kind of want to make more alts. Ooh. Tempting.
It does sound pretty delicious.
Yeah, because it's like you're able to gear like up to 4 at once, or like get them
Yeah.
something, right? That's a little. That
You
sounds
got
a
your
little
little squad.
delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, so short recap, DCD is the place for the big fancy gears for your main, and NC is where you help your alts get a little higher along the way.
Oh my god. Great. I just want to point out a comment in chat. Gray just said time to gear all my lancers at once, and I thought that was funny.
He's got the right idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like this.
Your daily reminder that Lancer lives matter. Love your Lancers.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's
But-
cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, these are the end games of at least when 100 cap first drops. The end games. Obviously, there's gonna be more later, but I'll refrain from talking about that right now. And yeah, so since we now know what dungeons there are for the 110 cap, we need to understand how the entire farming process is. And the way it works is step 1 is obviously building the setup you want. And more details on this next week, but you'll have to go through this sounds boring, but it's actually much more fun than you think it'll be. You'll have to go through the list of epics there are, or the groups of epics, I guess, and you just pick which one you want and make your own setup.
Oh, there's so much to talk about next week.
Okay.
It's gonna be a juicier one.
Okay, it's a juicy episode next week. Okay.
But yeah, so you basically make your dream setup. You're like, okay, I want to go for this, and then since each dungeon has normal dungeon has a specific drop pool, you just run the dungeons that you're supposed to run and get these epics, and sooner or later you'll finish your 12 out of 12 setup. That is step 1 and 2. After that, what you do is you would have to start feeding these setup you have with more epics so you can increase their level. And like I mentioned before, with higher level, you'll have higher fame. With higher fame, you can enter higher difficulty. And with higher difficulty, you can get like better leveled gears. And that is that repeated process is the entire farming game of the next cap.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
Yeah. So you would mostly be running normal dungeons to get the pieces that you either need or you want to feed. And then when you get your play points, you would spend those points to run either NC or DCD to get fancier gears or help your alts get along the way. You know, that's pretty much it.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. A lot
Yeah,
of
so no more of those run Gao until you die and hope for something good.
and hope for one epic drop that you can actually use.
Mhm.
This is definitely the biggest cornerstone turning point that DFO has had in many years. So expect lots of changes over the next half a
Yeah.
year.
Free from hell, free from Gao. Uh, but maybe never free from RNG. But that's okay.
At least they put a ceiling on it. They
yeah,
put a cap on it.
they put a ceiling because it's like, oh, that's okay if you didn't get what you wanted from these dungeons. Here's a selective box, you know? Like you can pick it. At least there's a ceiling, yes.
Yeah, and the biggest part of the, I guess, 105 gear gaming would be this last step where you increase your gear level, get more fame, run higher difficulty, so on and so forth until you can run the highest one. That climbing process will be the main farming game of the 105 gearing system.
I see.
Because
Oh.
getting your dream setup, it's not going to take very long.
Oh.
Like if you're diligent enough, you could be done in a week.
Oh.
You know what we should do, Mango?
What?
We should get gifs and clips of all the visually spicy gear for next cap and show some of it off next week and just show people just how crazy it can get.
Okay.
I was actually gonna.
I do have some examples prepared.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what were you
Yeah.
saying, Med?
I was just thinking about like what would be the best, because the thing says like build the setup you want, and that got me thinking. I was like, how would we know what setup? But I think that would be for like next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely a net for next week.
Yeah.
But I will say now, I think this is perfectly okay to spoiler because, or not really a spoiler because we might not even get it. I don't know if it's API based, but NextCap there is a system that lets you see popularity of certain setups and what you're playing. And I'm only okay with saying this now because I have no clue if we're gonna get it. I don't know if that's API based or web system based because we have a trend of not getting certain things in global based on whether it's API based or like a web link page based. But this seems client based, so you because I'm sure everyone here remembers with 100 cap gearing got incredibly convoluted. Like we had a whole calculator for it.
Yeah.
This is like that, but even crazier because power is no longer as linear and as straightforward as we once thought it was. They introduced a lot of new things, so it's gonna be a lot more complex.
Okay.
It's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that'll give me a lot of things to stay up thinking about, I guess. But I maybe we can move on from the calculator days. Yeah.
No, it's even worse.
Okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
it's more
I spoke
it's more
too
serious.
soon.
We're gonna be hitting books, dude. We're hitting the books.
Oh,
Next week
dude.
Izuka will be juicy.
Okay, I'll see what happens next week, and then maybe I'll cry, and maybe I'll cry even harder. We'll see. But yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be a bit of a headache, but it's also gonna be pretty fun. I
Okay,
can say that.
that's good. Yeah, because like literally gearing for 100 was just like a convoluted optimization problem, and I was just like, man, this is kind of boring, you know, like spreading out your mods as much as you can, etc.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually it'll make more sense, but next cap you don't have as many mods to worry about. And gearing next cap is once again going through yet another balance as revealed on DNF on. So whatever you see next week, keep in mind it will be changed very soon in Korea once again. And Copium, maybe we'll get those changes for our version.
Okay, I see.
Yes, everything that'll be talked about next week, and a little bit of spoilers, but comes with a massive asterisk.
Okay, big asterisk.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Let's see.
Yeah. Are there
Yeah,
questions?
I'm just looking through chat.
Okay. But yeah, any other comments or questions about the general farming process?
I think I had one question that someone asked me. I don't know if this was like a next week question, but they asked, would it if it's better to diss souls to buy the COD tickets, the DoD ones, or feed the gear directly to the gear?
Interesting question. So, you know how so far when we to run Hell or Gao, we would need to convert Epic Souls into whatever tickets it would be, either TGS, Hell tickets, or whatever they are. In the next cap, that's not the case. You can't use Epic Souls to buy the tickets.
Well, there is, but it's like
Well-
super inefficient, right?
Technically, you can, but you can only buy the normal tickets.
Yeah, it's just super inefficient, and it's just not worth it.
You're basically throwing away your Epic Souls,
Oh.
and because you can only run the normal, you can only buy normal tickets with that, and it's horribly inefficient.
Okay. So it would be better to just feed it to the gear directly then?
Either
Or-
that or because feeding gears won't be free. They would cost a little bit, and you would have to think about because when your gear level starts hitting high up like 50, 60, then if you feed level 1 gear on it, then you get nothing. So you'd have to think about, is this worth the cost that I'm gonna pay?
I see.
And in case it's not worth, then you just diss it for the Epic Soul.
Okay. Okay, someone else asked, is Ozma even worth running anymore into the new cap? I only got 2 pieces.
I think this feeds back into what Mango mentioned before, where you can feed Ozma or fully modified Sirocco and BP, like maximum modification gear. You can use it to give yourself a little boost and to start ahead of someone who has nothing next cap, but it's just like a nice starting point. It's like, have you played Mario Kart and you press X when the race starts?
Yeah, the little...
It's like that.
Yeah.
You get that little boost, but it's not going to change everything, which some people may not enjoy, but that's how it is. It gives you it's still something. It lets you start with a boost, which is better than nothing.
Yeah, but it won't...
That's a great example, actually.
Yeah, it won't put you at such a huge advantage over someone who's just like starting the game during 110 cap.
It's kind of like how 100 cap started, and you could farm pink and legendary sets, which were as strong as pre cap equipment by like, a little less than a few percent away. It's like that. So if you're getting mad about this, then it's just like, well, if you played 100 cap, it was the exact same.
Yeah, but yeah, they don't. I like that sort of idea though, because I feel like a lot of people who are new to the game, like completely new, are trying the game out or waiting for 110 cap to come along. And it would be kind of unfair to them if all of us old geezers who've been playing all this time, got super OP in the first few days.
Yeah, so anything else?
Yeah, any other questions in chat?
Well, because I got one more section coming up. That is, I want to give some tips before we, before the cap hits, I guess. Some tips that will help you to, I guess, in a way, prepare. So, first off, mythics that everyone's been asking about. Like we mentioned before, it's gonna be helpful to have a mythic, but it's not necessary because they'll eventually be replaced, and 105 epics are plenty powerful. Another thing to note is mythics will become level 105 equipments. What that means is, let's say for some reason you want to change your setup that involves 100 pieces. You won't be able to move enchantments on 105 mythics onto 100 epics. In other words, your 100 setup, you better make sure it's final before the cap hits if it involves a mythic.
Okay.
You can move up though, and So
No, you
like
can definitely move up.
you can move up, and then like if you move move zero crap to a top mythic, you can still move it between other top mythics. But you do if you want, you can do some planning now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
In case you're worried, engraving and inheriting are gonna stay, so you can move between 105 no problem. You can move from 100 to 105 no problem. But mythics to 100 epics, that's not gonna work anymore.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
So there's just a level mismatch, basically.
Kinda.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
Second point, TGS can be exchanged with Advanced Dungeon normal difficulty tickets. 480 for this ED, 960 for NC. So if you have a stash of TGS stacked up right now, that will help initially, like a little bit, but eventually they'll become obsolete because normal dungeons, like normal difficulties, you won't be running for too long if you're like diligent.
Gotcha.
So in other words, don't worry about stacking like a 10,000 TGS so you can get ahead of everyone else. No, you don't have to do that.
Okay.
Darn.
Med, were you trying to farm 10,000 TGS?
I was saving it up.
That last line is probably one of my favorite things ever.
Oh, yeah.
Third point, we have to go one by one. Third point, iolites won't be necessary because like inheriting and 105 won't need iolites. But they'll still be useful to have. Like, for example, if you want to keep running Ozma Raid or something like that. So they'll have some uses, but not necessary.
Okay.
And last point, or Forte's favorite point, if you'll be able to cross-inherited weapons that you can equip. In other words,
that's huge.
For example, if you are playing Blood Mage, and let's say for some reason you're using a staff right now.
Damn.
I don't know why you would do that, but let's say you are.
Sometimes
and
you don't get what you get.
By mistake.
But if you want to start using spears next cap, you can do that. Just inherit over.
That's so nice because I'm a dirty witch. I use a rod. I don't use a broom, and I literally have always wanted to go back to a broom, but my plus 11 amp is on my rod, and because a rod is not equal to a broom, I just can't do it. So next cap, I'll be able to do that. That's nice. That's nice.
You're gonna get to play around with a lot of stuff, and like some of the spicier weapons. For example, like a decisive, which we'll talk about more next week. They exist in different weapon forms, if I remember correctly.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Which won't be, it won't matter too much for most classes, but it does give you like room to play around.
Yeah, because I miss flying. I very much miss flying. Okay, so I have some questions from chat actually. So is it okay for me to bring them up now? Mango?
Yeah, so just wrapping up, that's all I wanted to talk about for today. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so a question I saw. Will there be recipes to upgrade level 100 epics into 105 epics like there were with some level 95 epics that could be upgraded into 100 epics?
No.
So
it's a hard no. There's no upgrading system from 100 to 105.
Yeah, so what's gonna happen is the way those 100 epics become useful in the new cap is you just feed them into the 105 epics then.
You can still like engrave and inherit, I guess engrave them into something, but otherwise you can feed your spares to boost, give them a big boost.
Okay.
Also, they'll help indirectly because, like we mentioned, there will be difficulty levels for story dungeons.
Oh.
And if you have better gears, then you can obviously run higher ones and reach 110 faster.
Oh yeah.
You're not losing your amps. If you're an amp lord now, you will continue to be an amp lord
for the end of time.
Nice. Good for me.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of like akin to if you had like the 95 prey gear, you didn't have to grind the get uniques or something like that, or the legendaries.
Yes.
Okay.
You get that Mario Kart X boost.
Okay, cool. Okay, another question I saw. Think there was an FP Express change in 110 cap to increase gear drop. or is that something that's introduced later in a QOL update?
So that is a thing, but that wasn't a thing initially. That was introduced a bit later. But how it works is if you so in case anyone doesn't know, FP Express, what it does is it would double your FP cost and double your not double, but massively increase your XP gain. And what they did was they changed it so that if you turn on your FP Express, your drop rate for everything would also increase by 50%.
Oh.
Which is not double, so it's less efficient, but it also lets you run more characters.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And Gray's question just got answered by Forte. Will 100 or 105 BP transfer to 110? Does 110 have BP? Yeah, so a big part of 110 is they're changing basically all of the modifier, like most of the modifiers, if not all. So like BP definitely was like a modifier game. Forte said it should not, but the existence of BP and Sirocco mods will increase the feeding EXP given to target epics. Yeah.
It's a bit deeper than that because they
Yeah.
have to be all gold lines, but
Yeah.
they just become like juicier things to feed for more EXP. You'll still get to engrave your existing enchants and amplification over to a selected piece of gear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, like, the amps or reinforcement levels and the enchants are safe. Basically, like, those are always safe to engrave.
Yep, they're safe.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But BP, in terms of like actual damage you do, BP is that content next cap.
Yeah.
All of your damage mods are becoming unified, essentially.
Yeah.
Not right away because they still exist, but once you transition into the next level of gear, you're not going to see stuff like additional smash or like additional crit damage or all time. It just becomes a generic damage increase.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how will inherit work next cap? Is it just transfer enchant app, then you feed the epic to transfer level, or you can just transfer the levels?
There will be two different inherit systems, one for the regular enchants and whatever those kind of things, and one for the levels. So you'll be able to also inherit levels to other gears.
Okay, that's between 105 gear, right?
Yes, of course, and on the same slot, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
1200 red eyes.
I mean,
1200 red eyes.
Once again, it's highly inefficient after the first time you do it, but you could just use up your red eyes, making a juiced maximum gold line equip and feed it once again to your 105 epic. It just, after the first time you do that, it will not give you that same boost anymore. It's just to like give you that, well, you got it once, here's your nice big boost. After that, it's just like, okay, we're not going to give you as much of a boost. That's going to be unfair, but it doesn't invalidate your red eyes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so hold on to your red eyes still. Instead of throwing them away.
Diamond hands.
Oh my god. Okay. Any other questions?
Don't drag your red eyes off the inventory and into oblivion.
Yeah, not yet. Use them to juice up something, and then...
They'll help you. Just a bit.
Yeah, just don't expect, like, oh, look at me, I have level 69 gear, first day of 110 cap. That's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, your car, it goes from, like, a Honda Civic to, like, I don't know, a Mercedes-Benz, but you still have to stop at a red light and the other people will catch up.
Yeah.
Alright.
Or it's like the Mario Kart boost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep those imageries in mind for next week too, when we're talking about gear and stuff.
How's it go?
Sell them for 12,000 gold. They're not
Worth it.
tradable.
Worth it.
Okay. Alright! Because you can sell them to an NPC, right?
Give them to Saria, she will love them.
Oh my god. Okay, any other questions from chat about anything that we've mentioned? So we just talked about the dungeons we'll see and the farming system. Next week is more of a spotlight on equipment and setups that you can run. And probably also learning how to gear for what you want.
Tell all your friends to tune in because we all care about gearing and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
Everyone's
Yeah.
so obsessed with gearing in this game. Will this be on YouTube? Yes. This will always be on YouTube. Until the end of time. Yeah. Will I be able to taste the rainbow in this cap? There is no rainbow because there is no hell. We killed Sponger.
Your gearing paradigm will definitely be a rainbow next cap, though. There's just such a crazy variety of things that you can do.
Okay, yeah. That's the new rainbow. Okay. Okay. I think, it doesn't seem like there's any other questions in chat. I'll ask one more time. Are there any other questions in chat? Speak now or hold your peace until next week.
Or is there any question from the table?
Oh yeah. Did we tabled something? But I forgot what it was already. Actually someone just asked, do we just disassemble epics we have now for Soul's next cap?
You could if you let's say you already have your setup and you already have your like Ozma Sirocco things ready and you just have a bunch of useless epics piled up, you want to diss them? Sure, you can.
Yeah.
I would just in case hold on to them until the update hits.
Yeah.
though.
I would say hold on to the epics in case for like gear sets or something.
Well, it's like from my understanding, the 100 epics are just feeding fodder at this point. So yeah, it depends if like you want to feed those unfused epics into your 105 epics. Yeah. Yeah. So there was talk of previewing some crazy looking new epics. Yeah, we'll have crazy looking epics next week. Stay tuned for that. Use them for TGS. Yeah, I guess you could.
Oh, in case anyone asks how important are Epic Souls next cap? Epic Souls themselves are but you'll need a lot of what were those called? The
Power
powerful
essences.
essences? Yeah,
At the
power
beginning.
essences.
You also don't need to worry. Do not go fucking stonks all over the place for power
You don't have to do that, but
You do not have to
just
do
have a
that.
healthy amount of Epic Souls and you'll be fine.
No market manipulation.
Buy out the product of wisdoms on the board.
Please do not screw the market. You're going to be okay. You will have it. You will have if you have good epic souls now, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Find all the TGS.
Oh my god, the time crystals. So
Yeah.
Well, just a funny side note here. Since you mentioned market manipulating, a couple days ago when they did the KDNF conference, there was some talk about 110 iolite, which are called golden barrels, being used for something, and then the director was talking about, I guess those scammers are probably buying them off the auction house. Just so you guys know, we are also massively increasing the tradable drop rate. And then he purposefully delayed the answer so the scammers would scam themselves.
Oh, nice.
Damn.
Yeah, so don't go playing with the market.
Yeah. If you play with the market, what's the director's name?
Yoon.
Director Yoon would personally fly out to your door and kick your... I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that.
Excuse me?
Don't worry
We'll
about
talk
it.
more about golden barrels next week.
Yeah.
Oh, we will.
Okay, any other questions in chat? Oh, when you're feeding Ozma Roko gears, don't feed a 105 gear item XP level more than 30.
The fancy numbers will come more next week.
Yeah. More details on that next week.
So I guess, are we more or less through?
I think so. I mean, yeah.
And anyone else have a last minute comments or questions?
I think I'm just very excited for next week.
Yeah, I'm
That's-
good. Yeah.
I love min-maxing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward because it seems like there's a lot of new systems being put in place. And I think it's very different from what we're used to. So I think a lot of people are are curious about just how different it is from the usual. So I'm excited. I'm a total zoomer, so like I didn't go through like the 5 years in hell grinding for my epics. I only did that for one cap. And I never did the homework cap, apparently, that a lot of people talk about. Okay, there's some questions. There's some offshoot questions. Are we getting any 110 skill or any SP points? Probably.
No.
No
But-
SP?
Actually,
Oh.
but since Gray mentioned it, I'll actually I would haven't mentioned this. But TP is gonna go through a little bit of change.
All right.
So basically, active skills of level 30 or under, the regular ones, their TP cost will be changed from 2 to 1, and their max level will be changed from 5 to 7.
Yeah. So it's like a buff. It's like a blanket
Yes.
buff for 1 through 30 skills.
Yep.
That's big. That's huge.
But in terms of SP, no changes.
Let's see. Anything to look forward to on the fashion side of things? I think there's a lot of cool looking weapon models next cap. Yeah. I think someone posted on Reddit a while ago how like all the new weapons look like, and I thought there was like cute stuff in there. Are we getting Mnet M-Spit rework and X-Sin balance? I've been waiting for 4 months! Oh! The big asterisk on this podcast, we're not official Neopol employees. We do talk to them sometimes, but they don't give us that kind of information, so we have no idea when that's coming. So
They
I'm
need more
sorry.
manpower.
Yeah, you've been waiting for a while too, because you play an
Me and Forte
M-Net.
both.
Yeah, you and Forte both rip. Yeah, that's a question you can direct towards Leopold, probably at the next X stream, because I think it feels like we were due for one. Yeah, we were due for that update, but maybe something came up. I don't know. I can only speculate. I'm not a Neopol employee. Please don't think I'm a Neopol employee. I only stream. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Doesn't seem like there's any other questions in chat, and you're done with what you wanted to say. And is there any questions from the guest group here?
No, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Okay, wow. So I think it's time to wrap up then. That was another good episode. A lot of exciting new things to look forward to. I'm happy because there is no more hell. There's no more hell. And it seems like it's going to be much easier to get gear. There's ceilings on the RNG farming now, so that always looks promising. And yeah. So I think the TLDR that you guys can take home is like this entire slide. So screenshot it, imprint it into your brain somehow. Just do whatever to remember it, and don't game the market. Don't buy out all the products of wisdom. I know some of you guys were thinking about it. Take your finger off that buy now thing on the game right now. And yeah, so I think the biggest point to emphasize on this slide is just, finalize your epic setup before the update hits, because your mythics will become level 105 equipment, so you won't be able to go from you won't able to be able to inherit 105 to 100, but the other way is okay still. Okay, One last question. What can I do with Guiding Light? Transfer mythics. That's it. They
Or
didn't.
random mythic pots, that'll be a thing.
Oh, there's a mythic pot? Okay. Yeah. I see. So I guess if you still don't have the mythic you want, you can try to get it with the pots. Is that correct?
You could, but you don't have to.
Okay, you don't have to. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Guiding Light doesn't get any new things next cap. And yeah. So, I think I'll actually end this podcast and ask everyone here in the guest room, in the guest pod, whatever I'm calling it. What is the one thing you're looking forward to the 110 cap that was mentioned today?
Gears.
Gears? Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, okay.
Gears. Yeah.
Gears.
Yeah.
Okay, Forte, how
I
about
want
you?
more gear.
Decisive weapons.
Okay, decisive weapons, that's fair, yeah. I'm excited about the decisive weapons. Then we'll talk more about those next week. How many lights is a box? 3. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. Oh wait, and I already yammered on about what I'm looking forward to. So, in particular, the incapacitation bar seems like a cool new gameplay mechanic that hopefully introduces some varied gameplay into the game. So yeah. I think that's it. So thank you once again to Forte, Mango, and Med for agreeing to become guests on this episode. It was exciting to talk about all the new stuff, all the new equipments that we'll see next cap, and how to get those equipment, and like the new special dungeons as well. And I think it helps. I think it's gonna help a lot of people at least plan in the next few weeks on what to do with all their 100 cap stuff. So like if you were planning on throwing out the DGS or like the red eyes, maybe hold on to that, etc. And yeah. So that's pretty much it. And do the guests want to say anything before we say goodbye to everyone?
Come back next week. It'll be better.
Yeah. There's one last part next week. We are talking about crazy gear and crazy setups. I mean, it sounds crazy, but yeah. And some of you may have already seen some of the very memey gear. There's one where if you have a lot of avatars, you get like cooldown reduction or something. So if you want to see more of that and some things you might want to look forward to in gearing your own character for next cap, swing by on the last part of this mega episode for preparing for the level 110 cap. It'll be here on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and the guests we have on slot right now is Forte's coming back, Mango's coming back because he's changed to his podcast forever, and Dress Up Fighter Online, who runs DFO Archive, is coming by too to lend us some of his knowledge probably. So yeah, exciting stuff next week. Okay, did Mango or Med want to say anything before we end the podcast?
I just hope this podcast was helpful in preparing you guys, or it was interesting enough for you guys to, be excited for the next cap. And I hope to see you guys again next week for more of my slavery. Information.
God.
Yes.
Tired.
He works voluntarily. He's not chained or anything. I was kidding. Okay.
Like twice.
No, what the? Okay. Yeah, so thank you everyone. Please give a round of applause in chat with the clap emojis to our guests. They do such a good job.
Thank you.
They
Thank you for having me.
They always do a wonderful job as guests on this podcast, and it's always fun talking to them. And yeah, clappers. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Also, FYI, something very cool is releasing next week too. That's not just a podcast episode. It starts with the D and ends with an NF duel. So, the DNF duel's coming out June 28th. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
I don't know if that's local time or whatever, but if you want, you can pre-order it on Steam right now or whatever other platforms it's on. I'm not paid or anything. I'm just really excited about DNF Duel. So yeah, keep a lookout on that. And apparently there's also a stream tomorrow. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Arc System Works. I guess they're probably revealing the boss. So that's at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time at the Arc Systems Twitch. If you did not see those news, so yeah, I will see you guys later. Thank you for everything. And oh my god, my PC is defying itself. No. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry if there's any. I just want to say sorry if there's been technical issues throughout the stream. I don't know why OBS decided to take up like 50% CPU power. I have no idea why, but I'll fix it before I stream the next episode next week. But yeah, thank you guys again. Depending on where we are, good night, sleep well, sweet dreams, or have a good rest of your days or evenings. And yeah, I'll see you guys later, and hopefully we'll see some of you guys come back for next week's episode. If you missed the episode, it'll be up on YouTube probably tonight, and I'll link that in the Reddit. I'll link that in the subreddit and also on my server. So yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys on the other side, which is 100 cap still, because it's not July 12th yet. So yeah, bye bye. Thank you again.